The speaking part of a proficiency test can pose a challenge to everyone. Some test takers may be confident, and some others may have a panic attack, and the IELTS is no exception. Hi, I'm Cesar, and in this video I will give you some tips and hints on how to ace this part of a test. I know this video is long, but I want you to have the best result possible in your test. So we're talking about band 7, 8 or 9. But first, 3 things you don't need for the test. Okay, number 1, you don't need a native accent. I mean, as long as your pronunciation is accurate, the accent doesn't really matter. And besides, there are more than 200 variations of accent in English. I actually think that there are even more. Second, you don't need to understand all the questions the first time you hear them. It's okay to ask the evaluator to repeat the question, as long as you do it in a polite way. And well, I should have mentioned this before, but the exam is recorded. You don't need to worry about the record. Don't worry about the recording, it's just a tool. Okay, so what is more or less what you're gonna do in the interview? It's actually nothing too difficult, but it's not necessarily the easiest part of the test. The IELTS speaking part has a one-on-one interview format, so you are going to be with the evaluator talking, and actually it's better if you take it as a conversation. The interview doesn't take more than 15 minutes. Believe me, it's gonna be over before you notice. The evaluator will record the whole thing. Evaluators use the recording to double check and contrast with their notes. And also it's kind of useful in case they need a second opinion. One of the best things you can do is to check the rubric that they have for the IELTS. You know that we have bands 1 through 9. So anything connected to the variations of grammar that you use, lexical resources, and of course pronunciation will be evaluated. So if you look at this, it's not an impossible thing. The interview has 3 parts. Each part has a different role. However, the strategies may be useful for more than one section. So let's start. Part 1. Friendly chat. I know that's not the official name, but hey. Part 1 deals with your personal information and some chit-chat questions. The key thing here is to greet. I know the greeting sounds like too basic, but some people are so nervous that they forget about it. Actually, greeting the evaluator may be beneficial and help you reduce your levels of anxiety. The evaluator will ask some personal information first, like your full name and your ID number. However, if you feel like you need to think about your answer, try not to mumble or produce weird sounds. It's okay to stay quiet for 1 second or 2, or just tell the evaluator, give me 1 moment, or I need a second to think this. As you answer the rest of the questions, try to vary the vocabulary that you use. Your answers should go to the point. Some answers that really work here are 2-part answers, 2 sentences or a sentence and a clause. Here we have some examples. As you can see, they seem pretty easy at first. Your answer will determine your level. So let's go with the first question. What games are popular in your country and why? Option 1. Soccer is the most popular because you can play with your friends and it's fun. Option number 2. There are many. I think soccer is the most played because of its popularity. Still, I also seen people playing basketball or board games. Well, all popular games have a social factor. Taking into account all the recommendations that I mentioned before, which option is better? It's not necessary to make exaggerated and elaborate answers all the time, just like the meme here. But you can still see the difference between these 2 answers. How would you answer these questions in the interview? You should do it in the comments. Part 2. 2-minute monologue. Part 2 can be a bit tricky. The evaluator will give you a piece of paper or a booklet with the speaking task, just like the one we have here. You have to talk about this for about 2 minutes. 2 minutes tops. You should focus on completing each item instead of talking too much. The evaluator will stop you once the time's up. So the sweet spot, I would say, is about 1.5 minutes. Before speaking, you will have the chance to prepare what you're going to say. Yep, you should take notes. Remember, it's more important to complete the task than speaking for the whole time. The evaluator will stop you, and if you didn't complete part of a task, that's gonna leave a scar. So let's see. The task says, describe an open air or street market which you enjoyed visiting. You should say where the market is, what the market sells, how big the market is, and explain why you enjoyed visiting the market. So how would I go about this? I wouldn't complicate too much, and I will try to answer the things as I go, in the same order they appear in the paper. I used to go to a flea market downtown Bogota. It's right in front of Colpete Tower. You can find all kinds of collectibles, antiquities, and crafts. Actually, I'll try to go there next weekend. It's a small parking lot, but it's amazing how each shop varies from one another. I love the variety of items, and how most of them are really affordable. The people there are fascinating and really friendly. And if anyone is into some obscure hobby, and they need a very specific item, I'm going to take them there for sure. So, let's see. How long did that take? Okay, that's okay. You don't need to speak more than that. Sometimes I speak too fast, but it doesn't matter if you go slower, as long as you complete the task. So let's see. Market, checked. Location, checked. Items, checked. Size, checked. Why is the place so awesome? Triple check. So again, I can't stress this enough because this is one of the most common mistakes. You don't have to speak for 2 minutes. It's more important to complete the task. Keep that in mind. If you didn't answer part 1, then how would you answer part 2? You should do it here in the comments. Part 3. Questions related to part 2. This part aims to evaluate the user's capacity of elaboration and coherence. Many of the recommendations from part 1 apply here too. However, especially here, you should try to use more elaborate structures and more abstract vocabulary if possible. Again, 2 3-part answers are the best option. We should use the second question here for the model answer. I know an obvious difference here, but why do you think this answer is better than this one? Because if you're going to tell me that it's because it's longer, maybe that's not the reason. So the question says, do you think markets are more suitable places for selling certain types of things? Which ones? Why do you think this? And I know it's kind of obvious which answer is better, but why? The first model here, markets are good because of the variety of items. All in all, they're amazing and the prices are affordable and there are many shops. This one has one critical problem, besides not having any connectors. There are way too many words that we already used in part 2, and we are not showing that we have a very elaborate and rich lexical bank. That's gonna be a problem. Second answer, from a buyer's standpoint, yeah. For example, there are some very specific figures that a hobbyist may only find in a market, like the one I mentioned before. Moreover, it can be cheaper than other options, just as food markets. They're cheaper than regular ones. So we answer each part of the question and we try to use a little bit more of elaborate structures, connectors, and maybe vocabulary that is not so common without going crazy. You're not Shakespeare. So before implementing all these recommendations, what you should do is practice. You should practice with other test takers, with a teacher, with a friend, with a person online, with just someone random. Try not to do it in a bus. And you should challenge yourself. Be demanding. You shouldn't be preparing for the IELTS 2 weeks before. You should do it at least for 2 months in advance. Or at least 1 month. I mean, it's not gonna help you to prepare under pressure. Being under pressure is the worst thing you can do for these kind of evaluations. Now let's talk about common mistakes. Take Toby here. He's taking the IELTS as we speak. However, this nuthead didn't prepare accordingly. So just like a video game, let's have a life bar made out of 3 hearts. Yep, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, that can work. So let's start playing. Hey Toby, start. So he's already in the interview, he's talking like crazy, and he starts repeating words.
Nope.
Yeah, that's not gonna help him. But, well, it doesn't hurt much. I mean, repeating words is not like such a big problem, as long as you don't do it too often. Now, Toby didn't understand the question, and he just started talking nonsense.
Oops.
You should have asked for a clarification. Remember, could you repeat please? Sorry, I didn't get that. Those things are okay. Well, he got nervous. He noticed that he didn't understand the question. Now he started hesitating like crazy. Now, it's not going to maybe affect the marks so much, but the psychology behind it will make him a little bit more nervous. And when you're nervous, you don't think straight. As you're not thinking straight, you're already too nervous, and you start having silly mistakes, one after another.
Oh no.
Yep, but hey, it could be worse. Well, now you start repeating everything that you said, and you have only used things, in terms of grammar, between the present simple and the past continuous. Maybe 1 or 2 sentences in present perfect. You forget about everything, you're simplifying your answers, and you just want to run away. But hey, we are still alive.
Stop! He's already dead.
That's until... Yeah, so he noticed that he was speaking too simple and he wanted to answer something with the passive voice. And he said something like, water has been drank by me. Water has been drank by me. It may sound okay in grammar terms, but in the use, that makes absolutely no sense. I have drank water. Water has been drank by me. Yeah, that doesn't sound fine. Yeah, I know. So, sorry, Toby. Game over. Whew. Sorry for you, man. Bottom line, don't be like Toby. Prepare beforehand, and the best thing you can do is to take the interview as a friendly chat. Okay, I know it's a test, I know it's not a cheap test, but it's a conversation. So all the tips that you have here, as long as you have practiced before, it's going to be really easy. Just take the interview as a small chat. You should also organize a group of people who are going to take the test and practice together. Additionally, Cambridge offers a series of free resources to prepare. Well, one in their website because they tend to change it from time to time, like every 6 months. Besides of the thousands of videos you can find on YouTube. And really, I may be too annoying with this item, but yeah, it's okay to ask for repetition. So these expressions can save you. Sorry, I didn't get that question. Sorry, I'm afraid I didn't catch that. Could you repeat the question, please? You said that again? These questions can help you. Use them. Don't forget to like and share the video with other people who are taking the IELTS pretty soon. Also consider subscribing. This helps the channel a whole lot. Really, thank you for your support. Whew, finally, it's over. I want you to ace this test. So that's it. SAR out. Bye. Take care.